What's up everybody, Jesse here, or GameOverJesse as all of you may know me, and here we have some amazing new concept art for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild from the Masterworks 30th anniversary book. We have designs for divine beasts that were not used in the game, walking guardians, not the crawling spider-like guardians that were based off the Octorocks, like actual walking guardians that look more like the Dark Nuts from Ocarina of Time. We have these Nightmare Before Christmas looking monsters, bosses, not divine beast bosses, actual bosses that look like they're straight from your nightmare. We have Hyrule Castle in its completion. We have what looks like happy, friendly Lionels. We have character designs for what looks like is based off of Ganondorf, or at least the red hair, at least. We have a nightmare looking character, some concept art for Goron City, and just a bunch of cool stuff. So let's get started. Please subscribe. As I go through all of this, you guys are going to come through it with me for the first time. I already glanced over all of this, but I haven't taken an in-depth look. We're going to be doing that together, so please subscribe, thumb up if you like this video, and I'll be in the comments after this video going over all of this with you to see what you guys think. Alright, let's get started. Now, this comes from My Nintendo News, where they say, the gorgeous artwork shows off early designs of the divine beasts, landscapes, and also Hyrule Castle before it was destroyed. The Masterworks 30th anniversary book is currently only available in Japan. But here's some images for your to feast your eyes on. Okay, I guess they had a typo there. Some images for you to feast your eyes on. Now, we will start off with what looked to be a walker guardian type creature. We can see that its blind spot would be in its back as opposed to the eye on its head, and then it has like a Egyptian looking head, which really isn't a head. Don't really know how that would work. With it being a walker, I imagine it would be much slower than the actual guardians. But moving on to the next one, we have something straight out of my nightmares. We have a little Link here for scale. One is a giant hairy spider tarantula thing that is going to give me nightmares. Actually, all of these are going to give me nightmares. It looks like they are actual bosses or overworld bosses. Like, instead of getting Calamity Ganon, maybe we would have got some of these. It looks like they're straight out of like War of the Worlds or something. Even the tiny one we see here is like the giant round spider. We have a humongous crab. We have whatever that thing is with like 1,000 eyeballs. It looks like faces all along it with like the two giant skinny legs and then like the two long arms hanging down from its beard. I guess that's what that is. The other one looks like one of those little stick bugs, but it has a super duper long beak and it's like kind of walking, but it only has like one back leg. I swear some of this stuff it's literally stuff from nightmares. Here we have something really awesome. This is concept art for extra divine beasts that didn't make it into the game. One of these looks similar to what we've seen in the Hatana Tech Lab. I think that was it. Akala Tech Lab. One of the two. There's like the divine beast concept that's hanging from the wall. A lot of people thought that was going to be the 5th divine beast, but it turns out it wasn't. Well, here is concept art for a few other divine beasts. We see the giant crab here at the beginning. These also look a lot more steampunkish as opposed to the more techie versions of the ones that we did get. It looks like there's like meant to have cities or people inside them, as we can see with the concept art from the one that literally looks like it's from War of the Worlds. It has like the city inside the globe inside of it. But we have like the steampunk giant crab here. We have, which the crab, like there's artwork and designs for crabs throughout a bunch of the Zelda games. Wind Waker had the crab or the lobster. on the shirt, and then there's the crabs in Breath of the Wild and some of the other games. So anyways, there's the dragon-esque looking one that has like the flame for a head and the fire tail. We have the one that has like a city glowing inside of a dome. Going straight down from there, we have the well that looks almost like what we see in the tech lab hanging from the ceiling. More like a well. And then we have one that looks like a long neck dinosaur. And this one looks like it has like a huge village or a huge town inside of it, because there are lights going all the way across. So it looks like this has lightning around it, so perhaps this was replaced by the one that we see in the Gerudo Desert walking around. But that could just be normal lightning strikes because it's in a grassy area as opposed to the desert, but who knows. Going back to the crab, it looks like that is in an area close to the mountains, but there's mountains everywhere, so it may not be Death Mountain. And then finally we have the one at the bottom left. It looks more akin to what we see in the actual game. What's interesting, if you think back to Ocarina of Time and the Water Temple and some of the other Zelda games, there were those enemies called the stingers that would just kind of fly out of the water and hit you and then go back in the water. You had to kill all of them to complete some of the puzzles to move on to the next room. They were some of the most annoying enemies. But moving on to the next one, we get something that makes me want to cry because it's so beautiful. No, it is Hyrule Castle Town, complete with NPCs walking around. And the castle in the background, we see the mountains way off in the distance. It looks so beautiful. Why did Nintendo not let us walk around a completely restored Hyrule, or at least the past Hyrule? Like after you beat the game, maybe you can access Link's memories. Instead of just watching the memories when you access them, you can relive the memories. You get to see Hyrule, what it looked like 100 years ago before it was destroyed. It looks so beautiful. Like they had everything created. Hyrule Castle was completely created. They had all the assets. It's not like they had to recreate it and spend more time creating something because it already existed in the cutscenes. They already had everything built. Why not let us explore that? I know they got to explore it. Here we see an inside look at Hyrule Castle. We see this in some of the cutscenes, most significantly in the ending cutscenes, whenever it has Link and Zelda and all of them standing in the castle with King Daphnis No Hansen Hyrule, or I forgot what his name is in Breath of the Wild. That might be it. That's it in Wind Waker though. Moving on, I don't know what in the world this. I don't. Is this like what a good Lionel would be? Like a friend, your neighborhood friendly Lionel. Alright, moving on. We have a lot of the concept art for the Zora. We see the King Zora up at the top, and then a close-up to the left. Slightly below it, we have young Mipha, I believe. And then we have below her the stupid old racist Zora. Below that we have adult Mipha. Going up to the right again, we have another racist Zora. To the right of him, we have the full body for some Zora that I don't quite remember. And above that we have another grumpy looking Zora. And then there are designs of Zora all throughout the picture. Here we have a Chica Warrior. This one looks like a male. I wonder if Nintendo's gonna try to say it's actually a female that became a male, just like Zelda turning into this Sheik in Ocarina of Time, because it is canon for Nintendo that Zelda actually becomes a male when she disguises herself as Sheik. So there's some controversy there, but this just looks like a concept for like a Chica Warrior, similar to the Yiga clan warriors that we see. very similar to it, just in the Chica colors and clothes. Here we have some random NPCs. This looks like, he's even got the pig nose. This looks like concept art for like what Ganondorf could have looked like in the pinkish purple robe with the yellow belt. Like the hair, everything that gives off like a big Ganon vibe, especially for his pig nose again. And then to the left of him we have, I would like to call a Goron. I don't really know. And then just normal NPCs, like, are these supposed to be Hylian? I don't really see the pointed ears, but some kind of people. The one to the right with the rice cutter, whatever that is, the little mini scythe, it looks like she belongs in Kakariko Village, where they're like growing the carrots and everything. Here we have concept art for some enemies. We have, I think these are supposed to be like the Wizrobes, or pose, like a cross between them. Looks like a lot more of like a gothy look on the one all the way to the right. Very creepy looking. In the middle here we see like another design, very reminiscent of like what a Poe looks like in Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess, but conceptualized for Breath of the Wild. And then we have just other character designs. The one to the far left looks he looks like something I would try to avoid. Here we have a happy guardian. What the heck is going on here? Removing its hat, tipping its hat to Link. So if we look beside this happy guardian, we can see there is a guardian-shaped hut or house here. There's a lot of things stored around it. Maybe it's supposed to be a shop of some kind or something. But the happy guardian tipping its hat is really, really funny, because typically when you see the guardians in the game, like, you don't want to get close to them unless you intend on destroying them, because they're going to be attacking. But this one, like, it even has a smiley face. Here we have concept art for something that looks like it's from like a Halloween Pokemon game. Maybe it's supposed to be like designed for a Poe or something similar to the Wizrobes or the Poes that we've seen before. Maybe it's just like concept design to, like, whenever they hint at like what an evil Yiga clan member is supposed to look like, or whenever they're talking about the leader of the Yiga, because if you remember back to Skyward Sword, they just had like a shadowy image at the beginning of the game whenever they're talking about Demise, and then later on you see Demise doesn't actually look like that at all. It was just like a caricature. Here we have awesome concept art of the Gorons. It's like the Mount Rushmore of the Gorons, which we kind of got. There are the rock that looks like one of the Gorons, but here we have like a Mount Rushmore of them. One we see it looks like he has a mohawk. The other two, or the other three, look like they're kind of bald. We see like the main hut in the center across the bridge of lava here. And then there's like a hut to its right, and then two other huts to its left. And then the bridge kind of forks out halfway through. We see the torches in front of the bridge, and then like a archway going in a circle around it. So pretty cool artwork. Like, I'm a fan of the way it looks, but I'm also a fan of the way that Goron City actually looks in the game. So I'd be happy with either of those artworks. It's not like I would rather have one over the other. Here we have concept art for Reto Village with the huge fan on top, very reminiscent from the Kakariko Village's windmill. I was a big fan of that design. Whenever I think of Kakariko Village, I think of the windmill. So like in Twilight Princess or A Link Between Worlds, even though A Link Between Worlds is based off of A Link to the Past's Hyrule, whenever I think of Kakariko Village, I think of that windmill. So when the windmill hut isn't in Kakariko Village, even though it's supposed to be a different Kakariko Village, it makes me sad. So whenever I see the windmill hut or a windmill appear in other locations, it gives me a little bit of nostalgia. And especially for this area, I think it completely fits, because the Reto are all about you know, well, the birds, so obviously flying in the air in the sky and stuff. It looks very, very similar to what we did get with the final artwork, or with the in-game concept. So again, I'm not sad that we didn't get this. I just like the Goron city, I could take this artwork or what we did get. Here we have, I don't even know what this is supposed to be. It looks like there's like a giant bird. Maybe it's a guardian. Like it's supposed to be a concept art for like a mini guardian on top. I'm not really sure. But this looks amazing. I would have loved to see this area in the game. And again, we have the windmill hut there. We can see like there's a bridge going to it, like a natural rock canyon-esque bridge going to this place. And then this isn't floating. You can see underneath it there is the ground is kind of going into like a cone shape, and then it's like teetering off and it's cut off by the clouds and the grass here. But this isn't like floating, so it's not like City in the Sky or anything like that, although City in the Sky would be cool. Going to the next one, we get some concept art for I guess this is the Walrus, like cartoony toy designs for like the sand seals, or like the sand walruses that you get in the Gerudo Desert. You have to use them to get to the Gerudo's divine beast. But like starting at the top left, we see like a little plush yarn animal here, laying on some bed, not really sure. And then to the right we have another stuffed sand seal. We have a purse with a sand seal face on it. We have a little children's chair, some makeup or vanity desks. At the very bottom to the right we have another color for the stuffed toy that has like a different hairline going back. We have a bathtub, some cups and teapots, a stamp, some dice, a target board. So it looks like maybe they're a huge fan of the sand seals and Breath of the Wild, and they had someone draw a bunch of crazy designs for it. Here we have a better version of the the goddesses, the Great Fairies. Yeah, that's it. The Great Fairies. This is much better design. Instead of the clamshell and then they come out and they're like all scary, I guess is the best way I can describe them. This is so much better, but it being made out of all gold and everything, it like maybe would be a bit too much. Like people would try to rob it or like break it apart and steal it or something if it was all gold. So yeah, but we kind of get the same platform going up to it. It's just color instead of all gold. But I like the way that it has the statues of the goddesses on top of the two fountains to the side, because it gives more of a fountain vibe than the actual one that we got in the game. So I definitely prefer this one, and I prefer the design of the Great Fairy as well. Here we have more Great Fairy fountain designs. These are a little bit more extravagant. We have one with I think these are supposed to be like each one for a different location. Like we have this one with the elephant. Maybe that would be close to Zora's domain, since that was the divine beast they got, was based off of an elephant. To the left of it we have horses. Maybe those are horses. The tails don't quite look like horse tails, but they could be taking some creative freedom to try to think of like a cool design. And then it looks like a half scorpion, half horse. But anyways, below that we get like a purple red one that looks like it would be found close to the Gerudo region. It has like all of the gems and stuff. And then to the right of it we have more, something that looks a lot similar to what we did get in the game, compared to the others at least. I'm a fan of this. Like it would have been cool if all of the Great Fairy Fountains look different instead of having the same look to them. The one with the elephant, actually, looking at it again because of the fists and the red design, looks like maybe it would have been close to the Goron region, and it kind of looks like a 8-bit Goron behind it, like where the two streams are crossing from the elephant, but the elephant was in the Zora region, so I don't know what's going on there. Here we have some concept art for, it looks like Queen Zelda maybe to the right, like whoever Zelda's mother would have been. It definitely looks like an older take on Zelda, like 30 to 40 years old, as opposed to like the teenage, like 17, 18-year-old Zelda, however old she was in the game. In the middle, it looks like Zelda here, and then to the left, maybe like another NPC, or that could have been her mother as well. But this is some cool designs. We see the Triforce prominently displayed between the red on the dress. And then the one to the right, that dress looks very similar to one that we've seen from like A Link to the Past, maybe some other Zelda games as well. And it looks like a more traditional royal version of the outfit or the dress that Zelda ends up wearing in the game. Here we have more concept art for Zelda. We can see the Sheikah Slate there by her side. We see on the left here, it looks a lot like the outfit that Zelda had in Ocarina of Time, just not colored in. And then below this we have like, I don't know if this is supposed to be the same Zelda or like sisters or whatever. But they look cool, different hairstyles, different outfits. And then to the bottom left, we see Zelda very similar again to what she wore in Ocarina of Time. To the right, it looks like she's more in like a horse riding outfit, whatever they're called, with her white horse that we see in the game. But the white horse does look a little bit different, especially with the reins and everything on the horse. The equipment looks a lot different. Here we have... it's like a early version of the map. We can see the Divine Beast in the locations where they're meant to be. And then it says like Link and Zelda's route in orange. And we can kind of see like the way that they traveled. And then in the blue, it says the Champion's route. So the Champions, it shows like the route on their quests that the Champions took in blue. It's really funny here. You can see this is obviously Rivali's route because he just flew literally straight to. But it's interesting to note that they didn't start out at Hyrule Castle. They started out over here at the mountain because I think this was the area they were at whenever Ganon, like in the cutscene, it shows Ganon like coming out of the castle or whatever and like breaking free from his seal, and this is the area that they were in, I believe, when he broke free. So it's cool to see like exactly where they went on their adventures and like what path they took. Maybe I'll like replay the game and like re-walk through this, but we can see it looks, strangely enough, it looks like Daruk was flown by I just said his name. Daruk was flown by Rivali, or Ravioli for the people on my Discord that are watching this. And then he was dropped off here in the middle of the water. Or maybe he was just like dropped off somewhere where he could get on land or a bridge or something. But very, very cool to see how they went to get to the different beasts. And it looks like even though there was a shorter route for Mipha to get to her divine beast, it looks like she went through Zora's domain and the path that most of us, I imagine, took to get through Zora's domain. Instead of like just going straight there, she ended up going like 3 or 4 times because she walked around to go through Zora's domain, probably to warn everyone. And then the longest route, probably not the longest distance wise because that would have been Ravioli, but if you look at the way to get to the Gerudo or Bosa's route was really, really long. And it looks like Link and Zelda just visited the spring, and then on their way back is whenever they're at that mountain, and then they make their way to Hyrule Castle. Here we have another route for the map. This one is zoomed in a lot more. We can see the Korok Forest to the top left. Underneath that is Hyrule Castle. And there are two routes here. The red area is damaged, so this is the areas where I imagine took the most damage from Ganon and not the Divine Beasts. Well, probably the Divine Beasts as well, because they were taken over too. But the Guardians. And then the orange line, we have the escaping route from the troops. So like the army, Hyrule army, their guards. And then we have the slightly darker redder route is Link and Zelda's escape route. So this, I imagine, would have been like the cutscenes where they're running away from everything, and like Link or Zelda trips or whatever, and that whole cutscene. Here's another one. Again, red is damage, or I guess this one it's more purple. The orange route is Zelda's route, and then the blue one is Link's route. But there's not really a blue one here, so the legend showing the blue route is weird. But it shows Zelda, like, her trip to, I guess, take the Master Sword to the Great Deku Tree, and then she leaves after she has that little conversation with Fi, and then she makes her way to Hyrule Castle to seal Ganon. And then we can see the purple route is the purple route is damage. So I guess that's, I don't really know what that is, but it's like the Great Fairy, or not the Great Fairy, like it's closer to the Great Plateau region. Comment below if you know what that is. And I guess that's everything. So if you watched this and you liked this, thank you so much for listening to me jabber on about my thoughts on this. But it's all really cool stuff. Whenever the actual English translated version of Masterworks comes out, I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. So please subscribe if you would like to see more. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please follow me on Twitter at GameOverJesse so you can stay up to date on all this stuff. Please like the video, subscribe, click the thumbs up, click the notification bell, all of that nonsense. Thank you guys. You've been awesome. Leave all of your thoughts in the comments below, because I want to discuss all of this with you to see what you guys think as well. Alright.